One of the things that I've always enjoyed about Freemasonry is its use of symbolism in Masonic education. I appreciate how we use more or less common items to represent a complex thought or object lesson. I know, of course, that the use of symbols is far older than Freemasonry. The use of symbolism as an education tool can be traced back to the earliest days of humanity. But what I like about how we use symbolism in today's Freemasonry is that we can almost personalize it to fit our own needs. Since a symbol is essentially a memory aid, we can take significant past personal events and turn them into our own unique symbols for various Masonic teachings. Let me give you an example by retelling a very disturbing event in my life that I use when I want to think of various Masonic moral lessons. I joined Freemasonry when I was 21. When I was in my late 20s, I decided that I wanted to move to California. So I did. I moved to the small town of Clovis. It was a nice place to live, not far from the incredible beauty of Yosemite, and also not far from the California coast, places like Carmel and Monterey. There was even a Masonic lodge in Clovis that I would visit on a semi-regular basis. It was a good time. But then something very unexpected happened. One Saturday morning, I was drinking my morning coffee and looking at the newspaper. I saw an ad for an electronics store that was in a shopping center not far from me. I had my eye on some stereo speakers, and now they were on sale at a very good price. I decided to jump in the car and go buy them. I had about $120 cash on me. I drove to the shopping center and pulled in the parking lot. It was about 10:30 in the morning. I parked the car and got out. As I was walking back to the car, I saw something. There was a kid standing behind the car. He looked about 16 or 17. As I looked closer at him, I noticed that he had a gun in his hand. I was not exactly happy about seeing this gun pointed at me, but I guess I was having trouble processing what I was seeing. I froze where I stood. After what seemed to be an eternity, but was probably no more than a couple of seconds, the kid said, "I'll take your money." Everything was brought quickly into reality. I'm not exactly sure what I was thinking, but I didn't have a lot of money, and I really wanted to buy those speakers. I didn't want to give him my money, so I told him that I didn't have anything on me. He cocked the gun. The gun was a revolver, and I could see the cylinder turning as the gun was being cocked. The barrel seemed to get larger as I looked at it. It started to look like he was pointing a cannon at me. I remember thinking to myself, "What's wrong with you? Don't play with him. Just give him what he wants." I told him okay, and then I reached in my pocket and handed him the money. He took it and just stared at me. I looked in his eyes, and they were just empty. There was no emotion, no expression, nothing. They were blank, dead eyes. Then he said, "You shouldn't have lied to me." I remember a cold feeling coming over me and my thinking, "Oh God, this kid's going to shoot me." I felt helpless. He just stared at me with an odd half grin. All kinds of thoughts crossed my mind and nothing added up. I had no idea how I ended up in this situation. Then, just as I was expected to be shot, I saw his eyes dart to the left, right over my right shoulder. A look of shock came over his face. He spun around and was gone. He didn't say a word. He just took off running. I was stunned. My first thought was police. I turned around fully expecting to see a police car or cops running up on foot, but there was nothing. I looked all around. I saw no cars or people anywhere behind me. The closest building was a bank that was towards the end of the mostly empty parking lot, but no one was anywhere around it. I was completely confused and quite shaken. I have no idea why he took off running like he did. I have no idea if he saw someone who took off themselves or what happened. All that I did know was that I was very lucky to be alive. I went home and what if was all I could think about. I did a lot of thinking about my life, where I was, where I wanted to go, and how quickly all that I had planned for the years ahead could have ended. Yeah, I did a lot of thinking. It was clear that I was given a second chance. A few days later, I realized that the lodge in town was having a meeting. I decided to go visit them. I had missed the last few meetings and just wanted to be in a Masonic atmosphere. Having no idea what was on the evening schedule, I showed up. As it turned out, the lodge was having a Master Mason degree. I was, needless to say, moved and affected by what I saw in the first and especially second section. While the lessons taught in the Master Mason degree focus in part on integrity or the test of integrity, my own situation involved no such test. It was an armed robbery, nothing more. But it made me think a great deal about life itself. Every single one of us will one day die. We have no choice in this matter. We also have no idea when that day will come. All over the world there are many people who were very much alive yesterday, planning for their future, and who are not with us today. We will never know what lost plans they may have had for today. While we have no power over death, there are things that we can do in life. Until our time of death, we have total control over our own actions. When that kid had his gun pointed at me, it seemed that he was in control of me. But really, he wasn't. I realized that the money that I had in my pocket was not worth my dying for, and I made the choice to give it to him. There was no loss of integrity in my action. I had not given my word that I would not give anyone the money unless certain conditions were met. But what if I had? Then it would have been a matter of integrity. I would have had to very quickly decide if my life was worth my integrity. That was the test in the Master Mason degree. It was realized by Hiram that we all live and die. It was realized that no one can take our integrity. We are the only ones who can give away our integrity or keep it. It is a powerful lesson. It calls for uncompromising self-examination and unyielding resolve. But the overall lessons in that degree involve more than integrity. The overall lessons involve choices that we make and when we make them. We have the freedom to go down any life path that we choose. In fact, we can choose one path and at some point decide that it's not the right path for us. We can choose another direction. We can do this again and again, all the way up to the moment of our death. But once we die, we become locked to whatever path we were on. There is no going back and doing things over or better. The lesson here is to think and choose well. Some choices may be our last. Another lesson would seem to be responsibilities, the ones we have to ourselves and others. Believe me, if you are under the impression that it is your duty in Freemasonry to gain or maintain power, glory, titles, and degrees, or to prop up those who believe this, then you are most definitely on the wrong path. We are not about trying to impress others with VIP degrees or offices. The goal of Freemasonry is to take a good man and give him the tools by which he can improve himself. We are to grow and learn. We grow by improving our mind, skills, and morality. But why do we do that? I mean, it's a nice idea, but is that all there is to Freemasonry? I don't believe it is. We have a far deeper responsibility. Masonry is not all about us. We must learn how to help others. We are not in this world alone. A good man, however, can't wave his hand and make others good. We can only change ourselves. We have no ability to make others do what we want of them. We can only control our actions. What we can do is learn, live, and radiate the lessons of Freemasonry. We can't force another down any life path, but we can be an inspiration to others. We can be that guy who inspires others to move to a different, better path, if they choose to do so. We can do that. We have a responsibility to ourselves and the world to help others as we can. Unfortunately, there is a catch. We can make all the most wonderful plans in the world for next year, next month, or even tomorrow. But if tonight is our last night on earth, then all our good plans are wasted. The lesson is that if we want to do something, we need to do it now, because tomorrow may never come. In music, we may know all the proper notes to play, but if our timing is off, then the music will not sound as it should. In all of life, timing is everything. It's not enough to know the right thing to do. We must do it. And we have to do it at the right time. If we don't care, then nothing matters. But if we do care, then we must accept the reality, responsibility, and the choices in life. Doing the right thing tomorrow may result in being forever known as the guy who refused to do the right thing. All action should be now. But, as in all things, the choice is ours. If you are serious about Masonic education, have a look at the Cornerstone Book Publishers website. You'll find there some of the finest classic and current Masonic education books in print. Don't wait. Start on the right path today. Cornerstone Book Publishers.